Hello and welcome to this Cybrox. You are very welcome to come and join us on a very special big interview. My name's Scott Patterson. As always, you are very, very welcome. Very rare that we're joined on the podcast with a gentleman who's had two big assists in a European Cup Winners' Cup final. I'm really pleased to say that Dave Smith joins us. Hi, Dave. How are you?
I'm fine. Yourself?
Thanks. Yes, I'm very well, thank you. Thanks for joining us. It's a busy week, and I know it's a busy week for you, so I won't take up too much of your time tonight. Thanks for joining us. You're obviously joining us on the sort of 50 years since the trip across to Barcelona, which we'll cover a little bit later. Lots going on just now, promoting the Rangers 72 film, which is available to get now. Busy time for you generally, isn't it?
Well, we're off to Seville early tomorrow morning. The club have actually invited the Barca boys to go to Seville. Unfortunately, I was already booked. I have a supporters club up in Fraserburgh, and they'd already booked me before the second leg of the semi-final.
They got in first.
So I'm off tomorrow morning from Aberdeen. But I'll join up with the rest of the Barca Bears on the Wednesday before the game.
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Just to make sure I get a ticket, you see.
Oh dear. And listen, just out of curiosity, we obviously we know that it's 50 years. Off air, you and I have spoken about the sort of similarities and the pathway to the final from 1972 to now. Without giving too much away about maybe how you feel about it right now, are you reasonably confident that we could have something to celebrate?
I'm reasonably confident, yeah. Reasonably confident, but having said that, the fans maybe are overconfident. That would be my only worry. Well, the fans mean a lot to the players, obviously, and the atmosphere at Ibrox in the semi-final second leg was second to none. And the club were good enough to invite the boys, so most of the boys are going. The only absentees will be, as far as I can make out, would be Tommy McLean, who isn't keeping in good health at the moment.
Right, okay.
And Alfie Cohen, who also is having a bit of a problem. He lost his wife recently, so
right.
Alfie doesn't feel up to going.
Of course, appreciate
places
that.
at the moment. So these are only two that won't be there, really. So,
yeah. Well,
from
listen,
the team that actually played, and of course Sandy, who were lost sadly.
Yeah, and listen, I think the obvious thing is we hope we go to Seville and we come back with something to celebrate. I want to get back to where it started for you. One of three boys in the northeast of Scotland carving out a career in football, and of course in 1966 you found yourself coming down from Aberdeen to Rangers. What was that like? How did the move come about?
Well, although you say I had two brothers. I actually had three brothers, but my eldest brother actually had a bad heart.
Mm-hmm.
He had 3 murmurs in his heart, and
right.
They only found this out when he went to join the RAF cadets.
Okay.
And he had a medical, and him and his friend went to join, and of course they turned him down because of this. And my mother often wondered why, when they were playing football as kids, that he would stop for a rest every now and again. So
yeah.
This is what it was. But anyway, my brother actually supported Rangers, Jim,
mm-hmm.
my oldest brother, and I always said to him, I'm going to play for Rangers. Of course, I joined Aberdeen when you were allowed to sign for a professional at 17.
Uh-huh.
I was asked if I'd go in the ground staff. My mum and dad weren't keen on me going in the ground staff. They preferred that I'd got a job and started a career in case I didn't make it.
Yeah. Which
was fair enough, because the number of people that joined the ground staff that I knew, well, I can't really think of one that actually made the grade, really.
Yeah.
The way we Aberdeen maybe for 2, 3, 4 years. In that days, they kept players for longer than they should have, because I don't know why they did that, but I remember one player was at Pretoria for 7 years and never played in the first team. But, it's makes you wonder why. I mean, the Rangers had players that played in the second team as well, and it was never really maybe played an odd game in the first team. But that was how it was in their days, But anyway, my brother died in 1963 before the same weekend as President Kennedy was assassinated. And in Aberdeen, as it so happened, that weekend we were playing Queen of the South down in Dumfries, and didn't get back until early morning. And the brother was sitting by the fire waiting for the ambulance to take him to hospital to get better. But unfortunately, he didn't get better. He died that morning, Sunday morning. So I kept a wish to him, because before I joined Rangers, Eddie Turnbull, the manager of Aberdeen, had told me that you won't be going to Rangers. So fair enough. And he got me to speak to Bill Nicholson at Spurs and Harry Cartrick at Everton. And I spoke to them, but I said I didn't want to go there. So that was that. But so the team sheet went up on the Friday before the first game of the season in August, and my name was on it. And I could say my name was first on the sheet all the time, but no, but my name was on the sheet. And David Shaw, the trainer, said, "Manager wants to see you." So I went to see Turnbull, and he said, "Be in Perth at 1 o'clock." I said, "It's after 12 now." He says, "Just be as quick as you can then." But he was going, but he didn't offer me a lift, So I drove down there, and I met up with Scott Simon at the Station Hotel, and Scott Simon just said, "I'll look after you," and he looked after me. So I just signed there, and then we didn't really discuss anything with no agents or nothing like that now.
Yeah.
I mean, now it's all agents that handle transfers, but you're on your own then. And I believe Scott Simon when he said he'd look after me, and he did. So that's fair enough.
And it must have been
Jim Rogers was waiting to take me away, so he had a scoop. But that was it, really. So no problems. And I went to Ibrox on Saturday morning and met Davy Kinnear and Joe Craven, and they said, "You better go and get yourself a new pair of boots." So I went and got a new pair of boots. And that was it. So.
And do you think when you had the meeting with Scott Simon, was your mind pretty much made up from the way he came across to you? I mean, it sounds like he kind of made you feel at ease about it a little bit. You must have been quite happy.
It was very much at ease, because Scott Simon was such a gentleman.
Yeah.
He really was. The game was starting to evolve then as well on the coaching side in that, whereas you would see Scott Simon at training and that, we seldom saw him. We seen him occasionally, but he had his bowler hat and everything on, a real gentleman, Leaving Rangers probably destroyed him, even though he went to Partick Thistle after that. But leaving Rangers, well, it didn't do him any good, if we put it that way,
No, absolutely. I think when you speak to anyone now, and sort of current times, if they speak about sort of leaving Rangers, they often say that's a step down, and it changes the landscape for you a little bit. I imagine maybe in Scott Simon's case, it may have been sort of akin to that. It just kind of everything changed a little bit. Just a bit different.
So you're right when you say that, because I regretted leaving Rangers as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I left them on accord rather than being forced out the door. And I remember Waddell when I told him. I mean, Jock was the manager, but when Waddell spoke to me, he said, "Are you going there?" But what he didn't know was that the brother had died.
Yeah.
His best friend was Albert Henderson's brother. So I knew Albert since I was knee high, So it was really a case. I went abroad because I knew Albert,
Yeah.
That was another, but I did regret it. I mean, I should have stayed at Rangers. But at the time, it was the right thing to do for me, because the football at Rangers wasn't being played the way I play football.
Mm-hmm.
I could give you an example of that, but I'll keep it for another day. But you can't. Jock was the manager, and he wanted me to kick people, and that wasn't my game. So I said, "Just don't pick me." And he didn't pick me. The first game he didn't pick me. Rangers got beat 3-1 at Ibrox. And Jock afterwards came into the boot room, and I was standing there, and he swung a punch, and I said, you have to be quicker than that. But the thing there was no animosity between Jock and me. I got on very, very well with Jock. Mm-hmm. He was a really good man. There was no harm in Jock at all. I used to babysit for him as well.
Right.
So although I'm saying he swung a punch, it was more a joking punch, because I'm quite sure if he's really meant to hit me,
well, he's a goalkeeper.
I wouldn't have been stunned. I might not be here today to tell the tale if he hit me. But no, Jock was a really decent fella. I wouldn't say a bad word against him. No, I mean, I didn't agree with how he played, but having said that, he justified the way he played by winning the league.
Absolutely, so, yeah. And listen, it's nice to hear you mention Willie Waddell. Tommy, the sort of this Ibrox editor, and I had David Mason on, the Rangers historian. A couple of years, maybe last year it was actually, during COVID actually, and he spoke really fondly of Willie Waddell and his research into him. He's someone who I think has changed the way that not just Rangers fans but football fans all around the country go to football in the current climate. And what was he like to work for?
It was a hard taskmaster, but a very fair one, I would say. But by the same token, I'll give you an example. We once had a meeting when the union first started off in Scotland, the Players' Union. We had a meeting in the away dressing room, and it was decided by a vote. The majority wanted to join. So John, Greg and I went up to see Mr. Waddell, press the light at the door, wait, red light. And eventually green light comes on, we'll go in. He says, well, the vote was to join the union. And he went, you'll not be joining no union. Finish. And that was it. We just had to go downstairs and say to the boys,
it's not happening.
I'm not allowed to join a union. And that was it. I think maybe the players are all members of the union now. I'm not sure if they are or not, but they probably are nowadays. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And from a coaching perspective, what was he like to work for as a coach? I know he had Jock Wallace there for part of his time as well, indeed in 1972, which we'll come on to shortly. But was he hands on in the training pitch, or did Jock Wallace really take over?
Well, Jock Wallace was the one who got you physically fit.
Yeah.
But Waddell did come down in his tracksuit. No, not all the time, but what he did do was, I mean, him and Jock's team went to see the Italian Herrera, was it?
Yeah.
To get tips from there. But what you've got to remember as well is that Waddell had won the league with Kilmarnock.
Yeah.
Before he came to Rangers. A lot of people just think Mr. Waddell is a reporter.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
Before he became a reporter, he had won the league at Kilmarnock, which, well, you just need to look at the records and you'll see there's no many teams outside the Old Firm won the league. So he obviously knew what he was doing. And when he came to us, he was very thorough in his preparation, especially for the European games. That's not to say he wasn't thorough with the other games, but especially European games. And he did very well that way, So, no, tactically, fitness-wise, you'd leave it to Jock, but Mr. Waddell would have been the brains behind it.
Yeah. So 8 years at Ibrox from 1966 to 1974. Scottish Cup winners' medal in there, League Cup winners' medal in there.
Well, I feel a bit a fraud with the winners' medal because it was a 73 and I never played. I was a substitute, but I never played. I played right up to the final. Then Willie says, we're leaving you out today. You'll be substitute. So it's a big deal being substitute. It wasn't for me. I actually never went up to receive my medal, and I keep getting rubbed about that by the supporters club. You got your medal? I said, well, I got it, but I didn't go up for it. I got it from Jock later on. I didn't go up to collect it.
Was that just a personal preference? You just didn't feel that you were, I don't want to say
I didn't earn it. I think it's only the players that are on the park have earned it. I mean, I earned the right for the players to go on the park, but I didn't earn the right to win it,
Wow.
But that's just me, I like playing. So.
Listen, I want to bring it back. We obviously spoke about the 1973. Year before, 1972, the biggest year in the club's history, without any shadow of a doubt. European Cup, Winners' Cup. campaign. We're in France, we're in Portugal, we're in Italy, we're in Germany. We know that the similarities with what we are going through now en route to Seville. Give us a wee insight into what that was like in 1972, going through against Rennes and Lisbon, Torino, and then Bayern.
You're talking about Waddell and his tactics. Well, I remember at Rennes, I wasn't playing. I was just recovering from a broken leg, and they were doing a setup for a corner, and Waddell was organising it, and he said to me, "What are you doing standing there?" And I says, "Well, that's where I would stand." He said, "You'd stand there?" And I said, "That's where I would stand." But he didn't want me standing there because that was upsetting what he wanted to do. But that's where I stood nevertheless. So that was an idea. He was very thorough, but he didn't want me standing where I thought I would stand, And that was the type, because nowadays you see the players looking over the dugout to see what they should be doing or what have you.
Yeah.
Well, when we played, you went on the park and you knew what you had to do. I've never, all the managers I've played under, nobody's ever said to me, "You'll play this way or play that way."
Yeah.
Just go out and play. They knew how I played, and they just left it at that. And most of the boys that played would say exactly the same. They might have had a word in young boys' ears and things like that, but overall, you just went out and played. You knew what you had to do, and you went and played. But the Rennes game, we got a good result over there, and we got a result with Ibrox. And then the next game was Torino?
Sporting. It was after that.
Was it Sporting after that? Aye.
Lisbon, yeah.
Aye. Well, in the Sporting, I played in the first game and we won the first game. My memory is not that great, but we won the first game. Then we went over there, and of course, a new rule came out that away goals counted double in extra time as well, which the referee didn't understand. We didn't understand anyway. We weren't even thinking about that at the time. But I remember I was substitute in the second game over there, and Big Ronnie McKinnon, he was injured in a horrific. Well, the boy should have been sent off. That's for sure. But anyway, Ronnie broke his leg, and I was just recovering from broken legs. Well, one broken leg. I recovered from two, but that was coming back from one. Anyway, when I went on the park, Ronnie was still there, and his leg was hanging just like that,
limp. Aye.
So to go on, it was a bit you say to yourself, "What am I doing here now?" On like that. But anyway, you just go on with it, and eventually the referee decided it was a penalty shootout. Well, lots of people have missed penalty shootouts, but very few can say what I can say. I missed two. But it's quite funny now. And it's funny even after we realised we were through. But the goalkeeper, I wasn't the first to miss, but the goalkeeper was moving before the ball was kicked.
Yep.
So I ran up and stopped, and the goalkeeper dived to his left, and I stuck it past the right-hand post. The referee says, "You'll take it again." So I placed it again. I ran up and I stopped. The goalkeeper's dived to his left again. Of course, I'm sort of smiling, and what do? I put past the post again, so I can lay fame to missing two penalties in the shootout and still going through. Thanks to John Fairgrieve, the reporter, we didn't need the shootout, as it turned out. So Waddell went through with the rule book. The referee showed him the rules. The referee said, "Okay, I've made a mistake. You're through." So that was it. So the combined said that, and I think they took us for a trip to Israel because we'd got through. So
right, okay.
That was good.
And what about the trip to Turin to play Torino? What was that like?
Well, again, Derek Johnson said the teams we played in every round were top of the league at the time.
Yeah.
And Torino were on top of the Italian league, and it was a hard fight over there, and we come away with a reasonable result, and we took him back to Ibrox, and again we won. So
yeah.
that was us on the road,
And listen, I think other than the obvious highlight, which was the final, which we'll come to in a minute, from a personal perspective, what was it like captaining Rangers in place of John Gregan coming out and facing Franz Beckenbauer in that second leg?
Well, it was obviously a great honour, but the first game over there was such a good game.
Yeah.
I mean, we were really quite fortunate to come away with a result over there, because Bayern was such a good team that they really gave us a drubbing over there, but didn't get the goals that they needed. And Beckenbauer was quite a nice lad, actually. We met him before the game over there, and he was quite nice to me and John. And coming over to Ibrox, I mean, people laugh when I say, when I pulled on a strip, I was just pleased to have a strip on and going to play the game. And obviously, it's a great honour to captain Rangers at any time.
Yeah.
So, but the captain against Bayern Munich was special, and the team they had was special. Beckenbauer, as I say, Müller, Meyer, Breitner, you name Hunis, you name them. They're all household names in Germany anyway. They're probably household names here.
Yeah.
Probably most people couldn't remember our names, but we went out there and quite honestly we destroyed them. We knew that as soon as they started arguing with ourselves.
Yeah.
Müller, who was supposed drifted further back and back. So we knew we had them then. So we got the good goals. Sandy with his left foot, which was unusual to say the least. But that was Sandy, and Derek Parling got one as well. So
right.
That was it. So through the atmosphere that night, it was something special as well. It would have been a bit like last Thursday, I would imagine.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course. And the 24th of May, 1972. Listen, as I say, as things stand just now, we maybe have the opportunity to rival that night this week. We hope we do. It would be great to have another European trophy to speak of. Let us know a little bit about a lot is made about sort of maybe pre-match rituals or what you do before kickoff or anything like that. Did you have anything that you done by a superstition because it was such a big game? What was your feelings like going into the match?
Well, I didn't have any superstitions, but a lot of the players had,
Yeah.
Wee Bud would have wanted to go in, have a cigarette, knowing, just wee things. The only superstition I might have had would be that I either preferred to go out first or last.
Right,
if I was the captain, I like to be at the very end.
Uh-huh.
But for the final, I remember our oldest daughter, Amanda, when she was young, she was always with me and Sheila.
Mm-hmm.
They were always together. We used to take her out in the car to get her to sleep. She'd fall asleep in the car, but as soon as you got into the house, she'd be wide awake.
I know well.
He couldn't understand how we were going away, because Sheila went to the final as well.
Yeah.
She couldn't understand why we were both going away. So to pacify her, because Sheila's mum and dad were looking after him, I said, I'll wave to you on the TV. So that was the one time I actually waved. I wouldn't have waved. Apparently she was all right after she seen me waving to her. So that was it. But I have no superstitions before the games. I have no superstitions on the park either. Just a pleasure to be on the park.
Absolutely. And I'm looking at the graphic just now, how we lined up that night. McCloy, Jardine, Matheson, Greg, Johnston, yourself, Tom McLean, Alfie Conn, Colin Steen, Alex McDonald, and Willie Johnston, 11 Scotsmen, all super proud to be there and knew very much what they were getting into that night, didn't they?
Well, 4 of us had already played Bayern Munich 5 years earlier.
Yeah.
That was Sandy, Willie, Johnston, Greggy and me. But, so we, probably in 67, we didn't think we'd get another chance. Although, having said that, at that time, we always go into the quarterfinals, semi-finals of European competitions, because it was slightly different base. But plus the fact we were playing a German team, it was virtually all Germans.
Yeah.
Maybe an Austrian. which is virtually Germany anyway. Well, I shouldn't say that, but no, but it would be near enough,
Yeah.
It's no sort of travel for Africa or anything like they do nowadays. They're from everywhere, and we had 11 Scotsmen, so the game has completely changed now. It's quite an achievement for Rangers to reach a final now, because if you think about it, the clubs nowadays, like the English League, the French League, Italian League, the German League, they're all spending money. The Spanish League, they're spending one player, what Rangers and Celtic are spending the whole team.
Yeah, absolutely.
To reach a final is it's very difficult nowadays. It was very difficult nowadays, but I would say it's even more difficult now because of the money, because the game's done. We never spoke about money when we played. You didn't. It was the club never spoke about money. You hear the balance sheets, and we need to do this, to do that, but that didn't happen in the days. So I don't think it's for the better, but unfortunately, a lot of things in life is not for the better. But you can't change progress, or what they call progress. I don't know if it's progress, but I mean, the same way I said I answered the phone. I mean, we wouldn't have had phones in that then either. And to be quite honest with you, I still don't really carry a phone about. But the phone was lying here on, so. But it's usually lying about, I never hear it, So.
And the night, so the night itself, we obviously know now it's written into Rangers and Scottish football folklore, for that matter. Golf Collinstein, double from Willie Johnston. You're of course responsible for assisting for Colin, and a wonderful cross for Willie Johnston for his first of the night just before half time as well.
Yeah, but they had to do the running. I only had to put the ball in front of them, and so it was easier for me putting the ball in front of them and onto the head of a bud than it was for them to get in the position to receive it. So
it was a fantastic cross. Come on.
No, but I said the bud it was going to end without him touching it, but then he talks to me and says, "Was that shot then?" I knew you needed a goal to boost you. No, as I say, we lose as a team and we win as a team. I know everybody says that, but it's true enough. People ask me about games and that, and to be honest with you, I remember bad games more than I remember good games. Possibly because there was more bad games than there was good games. So
not at all.
But as I say, when I die, I'll be a better player. That's
oh goodness me!
But I'm not intending going away for a while.
Good man, glad to hear it. Glad to hear it.
I'm a good man. Only the good die young. I'm going to live forever.
So
I say it anyway.
Listen, going into the final, was there? We obviously got the benefit hindsight now. Did you go in confident? Did you go in believing you were going to win the match?
Well, I've heard it said before. Every time you pull on a Rangers jersey, you expect to win.
Yep.
You don't always win, but you expect to win.
Yeah.
And I suppose, in the fans' eyes, having beaten Bayern Munich, who were probably if not the best, going to be the best in Europe, the expectation would be that we've done the hardest job, we're going to win.
Yeah,
I never thought that at all. And that's why I fear, maybe for Wednesday coming, that if people think they've done the hard work beating Dortmund and Leipzig, the next game's always the hardest. You can be caught out when you least expect it.
Yeah.
Most people expect Rangers to come back with the trophy. I wouldn't say I expect, but I hope we do come back with a trophy. But,
of course.
It's not going to be job done.
No. I think it's I think it's quite fair. I think there's an awareness. And I've seen myself say it. You almost think because you've beaten Dortmund and you've put them out, you've beaten Leipzig and you've put them out, and you're playing against a team who domestically haven't had a particularly great time of it. Right. However, you know what I mean? They've put out Barcelona, they've knocked out West Ham, so they're no mugs. I think that's absolutely a given. Listen, one of the guys who I think Rangers fans look up to in a huge way is Sandy Jardine. For a lot of different reasons, played for the club very, very well indeed. The work that he done in 2012 when the club was getting dragged through the mud left, right and centre, his work was really incredible. And I think the Rangers fans owe him a huge amount of gratitude for all the work he done. What was he like to have in the changing room? I remember looking at a documentary, I think it was, and it said he was a reasonably quiet guy in the changing room, but when he went onto the pitch, he was like a Rolls Royce. He was an incredible guy to have in your team.
Sandy was just a decent fella, downright decent fella, and obviously taken far too young.
Absolutely.
And Sandy was, I mean, a clean living fella.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't drink to excess or anything like that. You know, it just shows that it's maybe know how you act or anything. It's maybe illness is something that's within you, and if you're going to have it, you maybe just you're going to have it, irrespective of what you going on ahead. But Sandy is a player, as you say. Sandy had an engine that could go up and down the park, and he could read the game as well. And Sandy was a really good player to have in your team, and a really decent individual as well,
And I think we were very, you're aware of how lucky we were in those days. Guys like yourself, Derek Johnston, all led, of course, by John Gregg, who that night was awarded the trophy inside the stadium. Quite bizarre that he was awarded the trophy inside the stadium. Was that a regret that maybe he didn't get the opportunity on the night to get out and celebrate with the support?
Well, it obviously was a regret, because if we look back to when the other side won the Champions Cup in Lisbon, their fans were allowed onto the park to celebrate. Now, the Rangers fans, the Rangers fans, a foul was blown 2 or 3 minutes before the end, and the fans came on then thinking it was the end.
Yeah, of course.
And we ended up, the police got them off. So the end, the police were waiting with their batons and everything. And of course, when the final whistle did go, the Rangers fans were on again.
Yeah.
The police were waiting with their batons and that. And obviously, if the Glasgow boys and, the Rangers supporters were getting hit, they were going to retaliate.
Yeah.
We didn't know so much about it. We knew the fans were on because, as one of my friends said, that they were trying to go on. He was trying to go onto the park. And I said, we were trying to get off the park. They were on the park, and we didn't know exactly. We were in the dressing room when everything was going on. So we didn't really know the full extent of it at the time. And if the police had just left the fans on the park, they were on the park anyway, so any damage to the turf was going to be damaged anyway. So
yeah, absolutely.
Just left them, and there would have been nothing happened. Would have been presented with the cup. The fans would have went wild, and that would have been the end of it. Right, so that's basically it.
Yeah.
We were just happy to get the cup because the fans invading the pitch. I think Moscow Dynamo were prepared to ask UEFA to replay the game and things like that, but it didn't come across. I think Mr. Waddell sort of stopped that going any further. But when we went into the dressing room, of course, people think we were giving it in the dressing room, but we weren't giving it in the dressing room. Mr. Waddell and John had to go to a small room. We were given the cup and told, get away.
Was it as cut and dried as that, genuinely, yeah?
Yeah. There was no messing about. They just got the cup and said, go. And they took it back to the dressing room. Then we celebrated, of course.
And
we were all in the bath by then, So.
Of course, yeah. And one of the things that I think for the support that maybe can't get away, they're not as lucky as you to get away to Seville on Tuesday morning. One of the things I think I'm looking forward to, fingers crossed, hopefully, is James Tavernier bringing that trophy back to Glasgow, and the support that can't get away to the sunshine to see it get the chance to sort of honour him when he brings it back onto the turf in the city. What was that like? The atmosphere when you came back into the country must have been incredible.
We flew back to Prestwick, and we come up by coach to Prestwick, and the roads were all lined all the way up. Then, of course, we got to Ibrox, and they had a nice open-air bus, not a lorry. The coal lorry. They did wash the coal lorry down, though.
At least it was clean.
It was really clean. But I can't imagine today's players going round Ibrox in a coal lorry. No,
not at all.
So.
Absolutely not.
They'll be going round in something better, and I hope they are. But no, we thought nothing about being in a coal lorry. It was the thing in our days was that the players and the fans were probably closer than they are today.
Yeah.
I mean, the players nowadays are sort of kept apart from the fans, if you like. Apart from when they're walking down the park.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
And I don't agree with that anyway. But in our days, well, we took the tube to Ibrox and things like that with the fans, so it's just different days, I'm an old-fashioned man, I suppose, and think things should still be the same when they're not,
Didn't do you any harm?
No, well, not really, no. No, I mean, nowadays you see supporters, when they had dues and that, would ask for somebody to come along, and the club would more or less tell us we had to go, but now very difficult to get the players to go. But again, it's entirely different nowadays. Most of the players are millionaires now, and it's difficult to tell people what to do.
Absolutely.
In that situation.
Absolutely.
Whereas we were, if you like, underdogs, and you just did what you were told, more or less.
Indeed. So listen, we know that in the background, as we celebrate our 150th year on the planet as a football club, and we celebrate 50 years of the Barcelona Bears, you guys have been involved in the Rangers 72 screening of the sort of new film that celebrates that. What was that like, getting together with some of the old faces, Peter McCloy, etc., getting together with these guys and just really chatting about your memories of that night?
Well, to make the film, we weren't actually brought together until the very end.
Yeah.
Most of the boys were there right enough at the end. We weren't all there, but most of us were there.
Yeah.
The film itself, we don't really know who made the film. Well, we know who made the film, but we don't really know who's all involved in the making of the film. The behind the scenes sort of thing. Is it Rangers? Is it the film company? We don't really know for sure. But it doesn't really matter. I mean, the thing I would say there would have been nice if the club had written to the players and said, we're making a film, or a film has been made. We'd like to contribute if you wish, just to let us know. But that never happened. So I don't think that was right, really. You know. I think the communications between the club and the players could have been better. But as I say, it's different nowadays. I mean, than what it used to be. So I'm maybe just old-fashioned. I believe that by courtesy alone, they should have just dropped everybody a line to say it's been done.
Yeah.
And I'm quite sure I would have done it, no problem, which we did.
Yeah.
But just being told the club would like you to, it would have been nice. But that's life nowadays, Yeah.
And listen, I think everyone looks forward to sort of watching that film back to front. I think from my perspective, wasn't around in 1972. May look like I was, but I definitely wasn't. But listen, I am. I'm looking forward to seeing it. There's a picture that I have on my left-hand side right now, and I remember when I was growing up, sometime in the 80s. I remember looking at it, and it's a picture that's quite vivid. It was the one that was taken with all you guys, and you've got the trophy right in front of you. Tom Craig's in the picture. All the guys that were involved in the night, and it's a really poignant picture. That beautiful blue top, red socks, and the white shorts. A great picture. It's a real memento for that night.
Bella Houston Park. It was taken.
Right. Okay.
If that's the picture I'm thinking about, yeah.
I'll show you that now. Hold on. I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
Yeah, Bella Houston Park, yeah.
Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What a picture.
Houston got taken there, yeah.
What a picture. Incredible picture. And David, you're on the verge of putting out your own book now, of course, as well. I know you're on the verge of putting that out too.
Right. That's better. I can see you now. Right. My son has published a book been published by my son wrote it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's written Colin Steen's and Tommy McLean's and
Brilliant.
someone else's, but he's written a few books anyway, but he kept this one for his 50th anniversary, he said. So I wasn't it's all right now it's out, but I really didn't I'm no one for that really. You know, I just like to be quiet really.
I don't believe that for a second.
Unless I know people. I'm all right if I know people, but I like to be in the background if you like. Yeah.
Well, listen, this Ibrox have been lucky enough to get 2 copies autographed by yourself, which we're going to give away across our social media channels probably this week. So we'll look forward, absolutely. So we'll learn all your secrets. We look forward to giving that away. So listen, before I let you sort of disappear for the rest of the night, just a final word. You're obviously a very sort of proud guy to have played for the football club, albeit 50 years ago. Really proud to have pulled on that blue jersey. You're away to Seville tomorrow. If I was to ask you to give me a prediction, and I know no one likes giving a prediction, particularly in a final, what's your gut telling you? Do you think we can come home with a trophy this week?
No, I think we'll come home with a trophy because it's written in the stars the way the rounds have gone.
Yeah.
But on the day, they've got to produce.
Yeah.
And
very
we've
true.
been let down in the past, but hopefully we won't be let down. As I say, I go to all the games. In some games, you're saying you'll go to a league game. But again, when we won in 72, we went to our league games, you would see exactly the same as what I'm saying. So there's a thing happening all the time. I think it's written in the stars that we'll come home with a trophy, and that would be what I hope. Not but for them, and most of all for the fans, because my supporter club alone, they can't wait to get there.
Yeah, I'll bet.
See the boys getting the cup. You know, it's and that's only a handful compared to what will be there. As I say, the only thing I would wish is that the fans do behave themselves, because the majority of fans are perfect, but you get a percentage that is it due to drink? I don't drink could come into it, but it's not just drink. I mean, some of them maybe just don't know how to behave in the first place, you know. So
I think in the first instance, we just hope that everyone goes over there and enjoys themselves and ultimately sees us bring home.
Come home with a trophy.
Come home with a trophy. That's exactly it. That's what you want them to do first and foremost. David, listen, I've really enjoyed having you on. Thanks for joining us. It's been brilliant to have you.
No, it's been fine.
So don't forget, this will go across on our social media channels, probably, I think, at some point on Tuesday. So you can jump on and have a look. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
I'll be in Spain.